Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Eatin with Joe. You know, if you've been with me over the past year, you've seen me work my way through the 50 most iconic foods from the 50 states in the U.S. I have 43 down, I have 7 to go, so I'm really glad you are watching today's episode. Today, I'm talking about the great state of Tennessee, and most specifically, Memphis BBQ. Now, if you remember from episode 4, there are several regions in the U.S. that are really known for their barbecue. In Texas, it's all about the beef brisket. North Carolina, it's all about that kind of vinegar tang they have to their barbecue. Kansas City, all about the sauce. But in Memphis, pork is the big deal. They slow smoke them, they dry rub them, and you can get them served either wet or dry, but it's all about the pig. I really can't create it in my own home, so off to Memphis I went. Driving into Memphis one night during one of their classic massive rolling thunderstorms, I really didn't know what to expect. Now, before we get too far in, remember we do have merch for sale. For the rest of this month, April, 100% of all the merch sales will continue to go to Caring and Sharing Hands in Minnesota.
I am never going to financially recover from this.
Thanks to these two fans.
OMG!
Who put themselves in a couple of fantastic looking Eatin with Joe shirts. They're the envy of the neighborhood, I'm sure. If you want to look as good as these two, go to redbubble.com, search for Joe Lauer, and put that mouse to work. All right, now before we get to the food, I'm going to take you on a really short tour of the city of Memphis. First thing that a lot of people think of when you talk about Memphis is Beale Street. Memphis is the birthplace of rock and roll, and Beale Street is the place in Memphis to experience it. Now, the second thing people think about when they talk about Memphis is Graceland. First, you get to check out the house. It's not what I thought it'd be. It's an actual, functional, livable house. You know, it just happens to have stained glass peacocks, baby grand piano, custom-made 15-foot sofa. Obviously, it has the jungle room, real working waterfall on one side, and like every house, it has a media room. And remember, this was the 1970s. They had 3 TVs, 1 for each channel. That's kind of big time back then. The obligatory billiards room. Obviously, you got to have a racquetball court, again with a piano. Plenty of space for the horses to run. But then look at this. Look at the kitchen. This is just a regular kitchen. I mean, it's really cool to think that Elvis used to be in here warming up his sandwiches or whatever he did. So after the house, you go through the museum. You see his cars, which were unbelievable. You see all the clothes he used to wear. You get to dance with him. You get to take your picture with him. They got about a dozen gift shops where you can get these beauties. And if you go, I highly recommend the VIP tour because you get to see the planes that he used to have. And his big jet is really off the hook. It's awesome. And if you remember episode 7 of Eatin with Joe, this is the plane he used to fly to Colorado to get his peanut butter and banana sandwiches. See how it all ties together? Okay, then after Graceland, if you do go to Memphis, you absolutely have to go to the Civil Rights Museum there. Now, if you know your history, you know that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated in Memphis. He was assassinated at the Lorraine Hotel. So what they did is they purchased the hotel and repurposed it and created this Civil Rights Museum. Words won't do it justice. Let's just say it is really moving, and at the end of the self-guided tour through the museum, you actually end up at Dr. King's room, just outside of which is where he was assassinated. So it's a pretty incredible museum. Very highly recommended. Anyway, so that's a tour of Memphis in a 2-night, 1-day nutshell. Now let's talk about the food. Okay, so 2 nights in Memphis means 2 opportunities to have Memphis barbecue. The first night was a pulled pork sandwich from Rendezvous Barbecue. I think it's a good sign that it's a real barbecue joint when the only way in is from the alley. The reason Rendezvous was on our list is because of a tip from a friend, and it didn't disappoint. Of course, this is all I have to show that I actually went there. Night number 2, we went for the slow smoked pork ribs from Central Barbecue. The meat was fall off the bone. The taste was out of this world. And as you can see from the aftermath here, there wasn't a whole lot of meat left on the bones when I was done. Now, of course, right behind Memphis BBQ as the most iconic food from Tennessee is Tennessee whiskey. Tennessee whiskey for lunch? Yes, please. So I guess this video turned into more of a Memphis Tourism Board video than an Eatin with Joe video. But just remember, Memphis BBQ is the greatest thing to come out of Tennessee since Jack Daniels. It is the most iconic food from Tennessee. One more off the list, 6 to go. Remember, if you like this video, please like it, please share it, and please subscribe and hit that notification bell if you haven't already. Thanks for watching. Look for my next video coming soon. Until then, I'll be here taking care of business.
Baby, I don't care. You don't look like a hot rod racing, driving late at night. You just wanna park where it's nice and dark. You just wanna hold me tight.